So today I'm with Joan and Neil, and we're talking a little bit about marriage, being married. How long have you guys been married?
Almost 34 years in August.
And how did you meet?
At McDonald's.
Yeah, we worked there. I was in high school,
Right.
and Neil was out of high school.
I worked there with her mother and her sister, and actually her mother tried to hook me up with her sister because her sister is older and a little younger than me. So, and I remember I was invited over to the house for a dinner. Remember that?
Yep.
To meet your sister, and it didn't work out that way.
So when you guys first saw each other, was it love at first sight? How did this spark start to fly?
It was for me.
Well, Neil's a little bit older than me. I was 16. He was 21.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't, I don't know, I didn't think like
You
that
weren't
at the
fast.
time, but it happened quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Then I fell in love with him.
Right. And her father didn't like that idea because he thought I was after only one thing.
Okay.
And he
then-
was.
And it was, yeah.
No,
you know.
no, that's not true. No, we're just kidding.
I always remind her of that.
So then how long were you together before, did you know pretty quickly into dating that this was it? This is the person you wanted to spend
Within a
your
year,
life
I
Yeah.
would think. Yeah.
Yep.
with? Yeah.
We met, she was 16. We were married, she was 19. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about the wedding. What do you remember about the wedding?
Oh, we had a big wedding.
Big, you know.
Big, traditional.
It was at Leonard's of Great Neck, which is the same place. You remember see The Sopranos? They had that big wedding, the same place, the same room. I
Yeah.
couldn't believe it when I saw it. And we had almost 300 people.
And then over the years, so now you're coming up on your 34th wedding anniversary. You've got how many kids now?
3.
3 kids. One is married, the other one's about to get married.
Yeah.
Right.
And now you're grandparents.
Yeah.
And so tell me about how love changes from that couple that started dating in McDonald's to 34 years later.
Well, you know, at the beginning when we first decided to have children, you know, most of our focus was on our children. We tried to always find time for ourselves as a couple, but we came from New York. We transplanted to Connecticut, so we didn't have a lot of family around us. You know, they would come up occasionally on weekends, or we would go down there. So our biggest thing was, like, maybe once a year we'd try to get away for a weekend. My parents would come up, or his parents would come up. But we didn't do a lot of going out by ourselves on a day-to-day basis.
We almost never went out to eat. We never had money, and it was never an argument. We had other arguments, but that wasn't one of it. We never argue over money because we still don't have money. So
So what are your arguments about?
it was over the kids.
Yeah,
mostly.
raising the
Yeah.
kids.
How to raise the kids.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
we have a different perspective on discipline, and we had to come to terms on that.
Right.
Well, one of the challenges of a long-term relationship is working out how you've been raised and some of the influences and how your parents treated you and disciplined you, and then two people coming together and trying to negotiate all of that. So how have you found your experience of, you know, those family influences?
Well, I definitely am a product of my environment, and my household was very laid back. There wasn't much in the way of real structure and rules, and that's the way I knew how to raise my kids.
And I had a hard time with that.
Yeah.
Not that they were very strict with me, but I thought should be some continuity, and there was none. So I came to terms with it by allowing her to become the parent, and I became the assistant parent. So I would go to the parent and ask what I should do next. You know?
And how did that work?
Not well.
Yeah.
It was worse for
We
Neil than
survived.
for me,
We
you
survived
know,
it. Yeah.
because it just went against his grain to be as easygoing as I was.
And she says the kids turned out good, and they all did. There's no complaints about that. But we had some issues during, you know.
Yeah, it made it a little
made
more
it tougher to live,
difficult.
yeah.
It did. I have to admit that looking back now, you know, I just said, I was 23 when I had my first daughter. That's what I knew. I could only do what I felt I could do. And yeah, we did okay, though.
It's all right. It's over.
What advice do you have for couples today? You know, there's a lot of students in college, and college is a much different experience today than it was several years ago. But I mean, the casual sex on college campuses and relationships, there's less dating on college campuses today. And so if you were talking to a group of college students about relationships and how to make love last, what kind of advice do you think you'd give them?
You have to have respect for each other. You have to find common interests sometimes. I mean, I wasn't, when I first met Neil, I had never been camping. Something small, you know, and something that he really loved. And I hesitated about doing it, but it was something he wanted to do. And then we shared that interest together. We actually did it with our kids. You know, we took them camping. I don't know, we did a lot
of things together. Actually,
Yeah.
we went back to college later on in life when we had the 3 kids together.
Yeah, we took classes together.
And we got a degree together like that in computers.
That's neat.
Yeah.
How does sex change in a relationship long term? Is it still good?
Yes.
Yeah, not as often, but and mostly because we're tired. I think.
We have early jobs, early morning jobs.
Right.
Neil starts like 5:30 and I start at 6, so evening is, you know, wind down time. But no, I've tricked him and taken him away for a weekend, and that was, you know,
It's been a while since we've done that.
yeah. But we did that over the years. We, you know, we made special time for ourselves.
It sounds like that's one of the biggest keys to the success of your relationship,
Yeah,
making time for each other.
yeah. Because our focus really was on raising our children on a day-to-day basis. And that you can't forget about that once those children are gone, it's the two of us, and we had to keep that relationship together with other interests in them because, you know, at a certain point, you know, there's at teenage ages, they're pretty much, you know, we're not their focus anymore. They're not I mean, not that they're not our focus, but they're out of the house a lot. So,
well, let's talk about that. So, looking forward, when you have your empty nest and your kids are all gone, what do you see? What are you going to do? What's your plan for the future?
well, pretty much our kids are all gone. We have one at home, but he's 23. He works, you know, he's out of the house most of the time. So we're still working. So once we can retire, we're planning on vacationing a lot. Just we talk about just getting in the car and driving across the country, you know, spending a couple of months, you know, just stop where we want to.
Right.
And
Yeah. That's our plan, is to try to spend as much time as we can just traveling the country. And I don't know, like, we haven't thought much past that. If we ever get to do that, I don't know if we're going to be able to retire and afford to do that, but that's what our goal is. So we'll see.